Moving right along, we're going to be on lens correction now. And lens correction is great. It's going to do two things. There's going to be, the first part is going to be this thing called removing chromatic aberration. And that's what we're going to talk about here on this first image. Removing chromatic aberration is when our digital sensors go from an area of extreme shadow to extreme highlight. Also, this picture is not great. I realize that. We get this sort of fringing where the pixel data can't sort of deal with the way the lens is sending it light. And so it kind of freaks out and gives us this like halo effect called chromatic aberration. And if I check this remove chromatic aberration, you can see that it's really, really strong in this image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to manually remove chromatic aberration. Now, I'm using this as sort of a old lens that I put on a mount, so it doesn't have the profiles in it. But an older lens, a lens that wasn't built for a digital world, you're certainly going to have chromatic aberration. So I sort of imagine and look at this and determine whether my chromatic aberration is purple or if it's green. And this is clearly an example of green. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually slide the amount slider up. And that's going to sort of remove the amount of green in that chromatic aberration. But you're also going to see that I need to actually widen out on this green hue the chromatic aberration that it should be looking for. And I don't know if you can see that, but now that I've widened this gap, and I'm going to sort of bring that back down until it reappears, and then move it back. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to turn this off and on. This is with chromatic aberration. You can see how gnarly and nasty that is. And this is with the chromatic aberration removed. All right, so here we go. On. Chromatic aberration. Off with the chromatic aberration disappeared. And that can sort of happen in this profile correction. I'm going to move to another image just so that we can get a sense of what's going on. You're also going to see that there's enable profile corrections. And if you have a new modern lens that's giving EXFI data, excuse me, to the lens, what I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to check this box, and you're going to see that you can now see that I've got my Sony FE 35mm 2.8 lens corrected. And you can see this sort of deal for the inefficiencies or the deficiencies of the lens. Primarily in this, it's light fall off and some things like that. And so I can actually use this lens correction to sort of give me a little bit of a cleaner, sort of, more architecturally square image. Now, I personally like the deficiencies of my lenses, and I sort of pick lenses based on their sort of unique characteristics. So you might not go through and use this every time. But that's going to be the lens correction tab in Lightroom.